Have you ever heard of the invisible gorilla experiment? It's something that goes back to the 1990s where two psychologists set up a simple experiment where there was a group of people that were passing a basketball back and forth. And the participants in the experiment were asked to count the number of passes that were taking place. And so they would focus on counting the number of passes and it would process. But in the middle, there was a person dressed up in a gorilla costume that was walking right through the scene as the people were passing the basketball. And it was incredible how many people completely missed the gorilla, as if this person were completely invisible. Why? Well, they were so focused upon the gorilla, or so focused upon the basketballs being passed that their mind was not paying attention to anything else. It's actually something called inattentional blindness, and we all experience it in our lives every day. In fact, it's a gift, it's a blessing in a way, because when you're concentrating and you're trying to accomplish something, if you attended to every single thing that was happening, every sound, every visual, everything else, you wouldn't be able to concentrate and really accomplish the task at hand. So in essence, inattentional blindness is a reflection of a positive working part of our brain. The problem is sometimes inattentional blindness can get in the way of us discovering hidden or treasures, metaphorical or literal, or solving problems, or finding out the best solution to a problem, or discovering a truth that's sitting right in front of us. So the question is, what can we do about that when we run into the invisible gorillas in our lives, figuratively speaking? And I'm going to give you 5 simple strategies that you can practice, as is true with almost all of my videos, especially on cognitive biases and logical fallacies and the like. Just having the information is not helpful enough. You have to actually practice this stuff. Have to try it over and over again, and you get a little bit better at it over time. Be just like a person sitting down at a piano for the very first time in their life, intending to play a beautiful piece of music, some beautiful classical piece. And they sit down and they press the keys, and it sounds nothing like the beautiful piece of music that they wanted, and therefore they conclude pianos don't work. Well, that's a little bit foolish, right? Pianos can work, but it takes practice to learn how to use them. The same thing is true with refining our thinking, our decision-making, our problem-solving. You can get actually better. This is a skill that you can develop over days, weeks, months, years, even decades. So let's go ahead and dive in. I have jotted down, as I often do, 5 tips for how you can deal with inattentional blindness when it's getting in the way of finding the best solution, discovering the treasure, and so forth. First one is to practice what else language. So what else here might matter? Just simply forcing yourself to pause, and especially if it's something visually you're scanning for, or even a solution you're scanning for in your mind, what else here might matter that I'm not paying attention to right now? Now, in the famous experiment, the people conducting the experiment literally told people to focus upon counting the number of passes. Well, that happens oftentimes when we're trying to solve a problem. We can concentrate on one piece of data or one bit of information. Same thing's true as when you're on like a literal or figurative treasure hunt. And in the process, you're really giving great attention to that one piece of data, but what else here might matter other than the thing you're attending to right now? The second one is to change your framing question. So, what assumptions am I making? You can ask. So maybe you go into a problem, or you're in a treasure hunt and you're assuming something, and really challenging yourself to say, well, maybe that's assumption is misleading me. Maybe it's keeping me from seeing something that's even more important. So simply asking and trying to rigorously answer the question, what assumptions am I making, can open your eyes and your mind's eye to things that you wouldn't see otherwise. Third one I jotted down here is to use the 30-minute reset rule. Now, obviously in the invisible gorilla experiment, it was a very fixed short time period and all. But in most of the problems that we're trying to solve and the things we're trying to discover, we have a little more extended period of time. And when you're focusing on something and you're really attending to something hard, your brain gets kind of stuck and focused on a certain way of thinking about it. So give yourself a reset. Sometimes 5 minutes, 10 minutes, sometimes you give yourself a 30-minute reset and you come back to it fresh, and you will notice and see things that you might have missed before. I've had this happen over and over and over again when I feel stuck with some kind of problem and I come back to it. Unfortunately, oftentimes people just feel like they have to put this marathon focus in, and they might put hours of focusing into something and not discovering it, and then just quit and be so exhausted from all the effort that they never come back to it before. So giving yourself some sort of shorter repetitions, taking a break, coming back and looking at it with fresh eyes can help you a ton. Fourth one is to seek some input from some other people and ask them what they notice. So find some people who maybe aren't even involved with the problem or the situation. Give them just a tiny little background. Don't give them too much because you don't want to bias them. And just tell them what they see and what do they notice? What do they pay attention to? What questions come to mind for them? So borrow another person's mind, and that's going to help you avoid some of the assumptions that might exist. At least it can sometimes. Then the fifth one is to kind of in your mind's eye to replay a situation differently. So when you're reviewing something, especially maybe a situation that happened, you're trying to find a solution to the problem that was revealed in that situation, or when you're trying to discover that literal metaphorical treasure hunt, you can actually just ask the question and sort of shift and say, I want to look at this scene from a different viewpoint, from a different vantage point. And that could be literally, physically, from a different vantage point. That works when you're searching for something. But it could also be looking at it from the vantage point of someone else. So this is like the last one where you ask someone else to look. But in this case, you're just trying to think about it how another person would. So if I were in this person's shoes, how would I be thinking about the problem? If I were in this person's shoes, how might I be thinking about the problem? Now, you may be right or wrong about how this other person might be thinking, and in some ways it doesn't matter. It's just you're getting out of your own head or habit of thinking, your own kind of thought ruts, and you're getting into someone else's, and that's going to let you see things that you might have missed from the other vantage point. You do these 5 things, and you will find yourself seeing more of the gorillas than you're missing. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes some persistence, but over time, we can all get better at this. Hope you enjoyed this video. I look forward to your comments.